Hi, I'm Olivia Quinner from the Fort Loramie track team, and the Fish Report Live starts now.
Coming to you live from Studio F in Russia, Ohio, it's the Fish Report Live Show with your hosts, Craig Fissinger and Ken Francis.
Welcome, everyone, to another Fish Report Live. It is Wednesday night, May the 8th. My name is Craig Fissinger, and no, you do not need to adjust your monitors. That is not Ken Francis. Ken has actually taken the week off. The last I heard, he was stuck on the sea somewhere, but I think he actually got rescued. He's back in his room, but very happy to have tonight with us the head girls track coach for West Liberty-Salem, actually the head girls cross-country coach as well, Mrs. Ann Vogel. Coach, welcome to Fish Report Live.
Hi, Craig. Thanks for having me.
Now, we interviewed you last year. I believe it was during track season,
yes.
But we're happy to have you in Ken's chair tonight. Some big shoes to fill. Are you up to the task?
I'm up to the challenge.
All right. Well, it's me and you, and then we have TK back in our sound room tonight. Actually, Heavy D took the week off as well, so it's the three of us, but we're going to have a lot of fun tonight. So you ready to get going?
I'm ready. Let's go.
All right. We're going to be talking all track tonight. More specifically, we're going to be talking girls track, and we've got a big interview coming up here in just a few minutes with the head coach for Coldwater, Mrs. Carla Kohler. We're going to be talking to her, and then a little later tonight, I'm going to show my interview last night with Fort Loramie head girls coach Kevin Rassman. So looking forward to that. A lot to get to tonight. But before we do all that, I want to ask you about your team. I know the Tigers are doing very well this year. I kind of pay attention to you on the internet and the papers. I know you get over this way a little bit. How are your girls doing this year?
You know, we're having a really successful season so far. I would say, honestly, it's probably one of the best teams we've had in West Liberty-Salem history. We've already broken 5 school records.
Oh, wow.
So we're really excited about that with it being the beginning of May, and we're looking forward to the postseason.
Well, what are some of the good events? I know you're 4x8. Russia's got a good 4x8, and I know you have a good 4x8 as well, but 4x8, some other events that you're doing well?
Our 4x100 just set the school record, and I think right now they have about the 3rd best time in the state. We have a really good freshman sprinter in Morgan Freihoff in the 100 and 200. Our 4x2s ran 150. They were very close to the school record. And we also have a good hurdler, Abigail Ravenstein, and some good throwers. We have a lot of depth this year. Okay.
Well, we've talked about you a little bit on this show. Ken was real high on that freshman sprint of yours, Morgan Freihoff. I think he called her his fab freshman here a few weeks ago. So, and then I know one of your stars also happens to be your daughter, Megan, which we're going to be talking about her more in just a little bit. So, but before we get to all of our track talk, one thing Ken and I do every week, Coach, is a trivia question. And he asked me the question. I always get it right. And
you always get it right?
Well, most of the time.
Okay.
I get it right most of the time. But I did tell you I wanted you to ask me a trivia question tonight. You said you had a good one, so I'm ready for it. What do you got?
Okay, first I have to thank Coldwater's AD, Eric Goodwin. I gave him a call this morning, and he helped me out with this trivia question.
Right.
So thanks, AD Goodwin. Okay, here we go.
Okay.
In 1993, Coldwater had a state championship 4x200 relay team.
Okay.
But who was Coldwater's first individual state champion in track and field? Was it A, Carla Klosterman,
Okay.
B, Sarah Kenny, or C, Becky Mueller?
Okay. Carla Klosterman, Sarah Kenny, or Becky Mueller. I know 2 of those 3. You give me 3 multiple choice. That's good. Ken usually makes it 4, but I got 3 to choose from.
Oh, sorry, Ken. I'm already letting you down.
Well, I'm going to give that some thought. If anybody can give me any help out there, send me a text or a tweet, and I will give you my answer at the end of the show.
Sounds good.
All right. Well, let's talk about some Coldwater track here, Coach. And whenever I think of Coldwater running, actually, whether it's cross country or track, two names pop into my head. At least they have here the last couple of years, and that's Kenny and Seas. And boy, they've got a few of them over there, and they seem to be doing very well the last couple of years.
Yeah, I think any coach would be just blessed to coach any of the Kenny or C sisters, and they add a lot of depth to the program, and I think they're just really coachable kids, and I really enjoy talking to them when I get a chance to at meets. Mostly cross country I see them, but they're great girls. Yeah,
they're good distance girls. They're good, and they run distance events in track, and I know they do some relays together, and just a good group of girls. And like I said, they're kind of been a thorn in Rushie's side any meets that they happen to run against them. But I know one lady that knows a lot about the Kennys and the C's, and that's Coldwater head coach Carla Kohler. We're happy to have her live on the phone right now. Coach Kohler, welcome to Fish Report Live, and thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Well, first of all, I got a guest host in the studio with me tonight. I wanted to let you know she's the head track coach over at West Liberty-Salem, Mrs. Ann Vogel. I know you're Division II and she's Division III, so I thought you guys could get along tonight. Okay, is that all right with you?
That's perfect.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, we know this is your first year track coaching track over at Coldwater, and we know you're a teacher over there as well. But I don't really know much else about you. Can you fill us in a little bit? Are you from the area, and what got you into coaching?
Sure. I'm actually a graduate of St. Henry, and been teaching at Copen with Coldwater for about 3 years, teaching over in the elementary for a year, and got me into coaching. I participated in all the sports through junior high and high school. Coached a couple years of the junior high track, and I've just always had the passion and the overall competition and atmosphere of track and field. So when the opportunity came, I took it.
All right. Well, listen, I know you have your county meet coming up this week, which includes a lot of the schools, or all the schools, I guess, from Mercer County. And then the following week, you have your conference meet coming up, which includes all the schools in the MAC. I want to ask you, since you're going to be running against many of those same schools this week and next week, do you treat this county meet this week any differently than you would your MAC meet next week?
I think through both of them, the county and the MAC, county being our top three runners and field events, and then the MAC being top two. As far as the runners go, treat it the same. Put in the athletes that can get us the points and do well for the overall team atmosphere, and also putting them in the events that they thrive in, and that they can compete with everyone else to bring Coldwater to that top.
Coach?
Hey, Coach, I just want to start out by saying it does my heart good to see young women starting in the coaching profession, and so I just want to wish you all the best as you start your career at Coldwater, and all the best to the Coldwater program, too. There's not many of us women out there coaching, so it's good to see some girl power out there. Like to ask you, I have the utmost respect for the MAC and the Shelby County leagues, and with the MAC championship coming up, what do you see as some of the top matchups at that meet next week?
The overall, in the girls and even the boys program, but through our girls program, as always, Minster versus Sales, they always have some key athletes that are comparable with the athletes that I have, and just with my distance runners, especially with the C sisters and the Kenny sisters, we have, strong runners, and, competing with those area schools, that also have the depth in their distance programs. We're all kind of at the same level, so competing in that way, we're doing what we can, and we're, hoping again that, we can use the depth that we have to, bring out, our athletes.
Yeah, I think that MAC meet will be very exciting this year, Craig.
Definitely. It's in Versailles, Coach. Is that right? Coach Kohler, that MAC meet, that's in Versailles this year, isn't it?
I'm sorry, you cut out there.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was going to say you were talking about the MAC meet, and I believe it's in Versailles this year, isn't it? We still got her, TK? Coach, are you still there? Okay, well, we're going to try to get her back on the phone, but she was talking about the MAC meet, and I believe it's over in Versailles this year, which will make it awfully easy for us Russia people to go over there and check it out. But I know she was mentioning Minster as being one of the top teams, and certainly they're a team that I know you're well aware of Minster. They've got a lot of good ones there.
Lots of great distance runners and good sprinters. They're just a solid program year in and year out, and I think that those distance races will be a great matchup. I hope maybe I can make it over here to watch it. That'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Hello, Coach. Sorry we lost you there for a little bit.
That's okay.
Well, we were just talking about your MAC meet being over at Versailles this year, and it's gonna make it awfully easy for us Russia people at least to go over there and check that meet out. I'm sure it'll be a lot of fun.
Oh, definitely. We ran at Versailles, one of our meets this year, and it's a good track over there and a good program they have over there.
And you have another question for
Yeah,
me?
I sure do. Hey, Coach, I always tell my girls to take one meet at a time, but when district's coming up in 2 weeks, you can't help but think about it. And what are some of the goals you have for your team in the postseason at the district, regional, and state level?
And I agree, Ann. We tell my athletes, let's worry about this one today, and then next week we'll move on to the to MAC and then districts. But as with any other program, we want to see as many of my athletes advance, boys and girls, to that next level. We want them to be running the events that they can compete with, and we do our research, and the overall goal is to have them all go to state or do the best they can with the competition that's out there.
All right, Coach. Hey, listen, we got one more question and we'll let you go. One of the girls we've been talking about tonight and that you've mentioned is Sarah Kenny. And I wanted to let you know, I actually saw her in Russia last weekend, and I saw her throwing a baseball with a couple guys. And I want to know what's the chances that maybe she might play softball or baseball for the Cavs next year, or maybe better yet, may move to Russia. I'm sure we could find a spring sport that she might excel in. Any chances of that?
Well, I hope that she just sticks in Coldwater and we can keep her. We don't want to give her up that easily, Sarah's a all around athlete, so whatever we have her doing, she can rise to the top in it all. But we hope next year we still see her in the track program and here at Coldwater.
All right. Well, I think she was just kind of playing around, but I guess I'll give up that hope. So.
Yeah.
All right, Coach. Well, hey, listen, thanks for joining us. Good luck the rest of the season. Look forward to seeing you over in Versailles for the MAC meet. And thanks for joining us tonight on Fish Report Live.
Well, thanks for having me. All
right, that was the head coach of the Coldwater girls track program, Carla Kohler. And Coach Vogel, we mentioned her being a first-year coach. I want to ask you if you can go back to your first year in coaching. And did you have any butterflies that first year? And, how have you grown as a coach over the years?
21 years ago, and yes, I had a lot of butterflies. We had a coach that suddenly decided he didn't want to coach, and the AD called me and asked me if I wanted to coach, and I was actually engaged, and Jason and I got married district weekend, so I had to miss the district meet, but definitely a lot of nerves, and I've hoped that I've learned a lot since then, and I feel like I can offer the girls a lot more than I did back then. But it's definitely different being an athlete to being a coach, and you really have to just constantly learning and growing with the sport. But I'm still doing it, so I enjoy it.
All right. Well, great. That's good stuff. All right. Well, we're going to take a short little break here, but hang in there. When we come back, we're going to be talking some more track. We're going to ask Ann about a special star on her team, and we're also going to be talking or show you our interview with Fort Loramie head coach Kevin Rassman. So stay there. We'll be right back.
And a shaky hand and a smoking 45. There's a light in the sky, 10-step bulls, all with the beat on me. Well, I hope they're ready for a long, long night, 'cause I won't go easily. They'll never take me alive. Go on after me, 'cause I shot that girl, the one that said she loved me. They'll never take me alive. This is the end of me, 'cause I shot that girl, the one that said she loved me. Friends all told me what I could not believe, what the whole town already knew. With that little girl I call my own, she just could not be true. So I drove around till I found a truck parked in that boy's drive. Well, I kicked in the door, emptied my gun, said, hey, have a nice night, but never take me alive. Go on after me, 'cause I shot that girl, the one that said she loved me. You'll never take me alive. This is the end of me, 'cause I shot that girl, the one that said she loved me.
All right, welcome everyone back to the second half of Fish Report Live. Well, Coach, you got half the show in. You ready to take over for Kenya?
I don't think your viewers are ready for me to take over.
Oh, you're
for
doing
Ken.
very well.
Well, thank you. It's a lot of fun, but I do miss Ken.
When it comes to track talk, you're pretty easy to talk to.
It's one of my favorite subjects.
All right. Well, listen, hey, another month and the state meet's going to be here. I know your focus right now is on your next meet and the postseason here. But after all that's said and done, your daughter, Megan, who's having another outstanding year for your team, is going to be moving on and running for Penn State University. I imagine she's excited to be running in the Big Ten against some of the best competition in the country. I want to ask you, what was she exactly recruited for at Penn State, and when exactly will she be moving to Happy Valley?
Well, first of all, she'll be moving to Happy Valley about the middle of August, just really a week before classes start, and she gets settled in, and we'll start practice with the team. But she wasn't really specifically recruited for one event. I'm sure she'll be happy to do whatever they ask her to do in a distance event. She's even a little bit interested in steeplechase, although I can't imagine her going over hurdles and make me nervous as a mom. But yeah, she's really looking forward to the opportunity and running for Coach Sullivan and Coach Gondak, and it's just definitely a blessing.
All right. Well, I want to ask you too, how exactly did Megan, when did Penn State start recruiting her, and how exactly did they find her?
Actually, and this is a good lesson for a lot of athletes. Megan contacted Penn State after the state meet last year. A dream of hers was always to run for a Big Ten school, and didn't matter really who, just wanted to run in the Big Ten. And she's always liked Coach Sullivan's program, and sent Coach Sullivan an email, and soon after got a call from Coach Gondak, who is the head assistant coach, and he offered her a visit, and we went over there, and she fell in love. And so it was, a lot of Megan's persistence. She got a lot of letters from Big Ten schools, but Penn State was one that she actually contacted herself.
Awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to hopefully seeing her compete. I don't know if they compete much in the Ohio area, or is it typically? Not
a lot, but I do know for sure that this weekend the Big Ten meets at Jesse Owens Stadium, and next year already the 2014 Big Ten indoor meet is up in Geneva, Ohio. So she will be here at least once.
All right. Well, looking forward to that. For some of the locals that want to see her next year, they'll have a chance at least. All right, well, let's go ahead and talk some SCL track here. More specifically, we're going to be talking some Fort Loramie track, and I know that they're one of the teams we just mentioned at the top of the show that they always put quality girls in events. I know that you know that as well as anyone, but they're one of those teams that every year they seem to have girls that you have to beat, don't they?
They always do. And you think, oh, finally someone like Janelle Oberdine's graduated. And then, Meg Westerheide's on the team. And they're always, bringing in new girls, fresh girls. They always have a lot of depth. They're always fun to compete against. But they're always strong. And, they're always a factor when it becomes postseason.
Well, last night I got the opportunity to go to Fort Loramie High School and visit with their second-year coach over there, Coach Kevin Rassman. He actually coaches both the boys and the girls. Got a chance to ask him about a couple of his stars over there, as well as their last regular season meet coming up this Friday night at Covington. Let's check out and see what he had to say. One of those girls you mentioned was Meg Westerheide. She's a junior for you, and certainly she's one of the stars of your team. I know she's put up some very good numbers in the 800 and the 1600 this year. Are those her two main events, and what kind of expectations do you have for her heading into the postseason?
Well, I'll tell you what. When I think about Meg, she has two things that fit together very good. She's very talented and she's a hard worker. And when you put those two things together, that makes for a great athlete. And she is. And her two main events, yes, are the 800 and the 1600. Late last week, I actually sat down and talked to her. I wanted to know what she wanted, what are her goals. I mean, because she is very talented, could do well in a number of different events. So I kind of talked to her, wanted to know what her goals were. And I know she said she was talking about the 800, and she talked about, well, I'd like to kind of think about where she'd like to go as far as state goes. I mean, last year she placed 4th in both the 800 and the 1600. And we were, talking, do you want to just work towards both? Do you want to focus on one? And so that's one thing she was going to think about. And I mean, I told her to talk to her mom and dad about that. And I told her, as a coach, I'll try to do my homework as best I can as we get to the end of the season to see how the times are in Division III of where she might be able to do the best at. So
another one of the girls that you mentioned was a name we've been hearing just this year because she's a freshman, and that's Olivia Quinter. She must be quite a leaper, Coach, because I always see her name at the top of the results for the hurdles and the high jump. What kind of potential does she have in the future?
Well, I'll tell you what, I remember last year us high school coaches watching her as a junior high and thinking, next year she's with us, so it's great to have her. And I tell you, it's kind of like I said about Meg. She is very talented, and she's also a very hard worker. And just thinking that she's a freshman yet. I think she's doing very well in the hurdles. I know Coach Jason Chateau. He's kind of our hurdle coach. He's been working with her, and then actually with the long jump. She really just started working on that just a few weeks ago, and Coach Toby's kind of been working with her in those regards. So
Friday night you got Covington coming up, the Covington Invitational. You got the league meet coming up the following week. I want to know what your mentality is going into Covington. Is this a meet where you rest your runners, hoping they can perform better in the league meet, or do you go into this meet trying to set personal records, hoping that carries over to the league meet? What should we expect in Covington on Friday night?
League meet is next week, but we're not going to take it easy Friday night. I mean, the one thing I've told the kids is we always want to work at to keep improving. And I mean, not that the county meet is not important. I mean, we obviously want to do very well there, but the county meet is also another stepping stone to continue improving, to go in then to districts and hopefully keep moving from there. So, we're kind of starting to move things around a little bit, and what we're maybe looking to do in county and districts is kind of what our outlook is for Friday at Covington. And the way things are, we're hoping that they take another step up Friday night, that they keep getting better.
All right, and that was Fort Loramie head coach Kevin Rassman. He did mention a lot of other girls that are point scorers for Loramie that didn't make that video. Girls like Elena Moore and Elena Schultze and Celine Waters and Tara Lupke. Like we said before that video, they just got a lot of quality girls and a lot of events over there. And one other question I asked Coach Rassman that didn't make the video there was, expectations from him. And he said, Craig, I'm following in the footsteps of some good coaches over there at Fort Loramie. One of those coaches was actually my old coach when I was at Fort Loramie, Coach Steve Stickley, who I know you know very well. Why don't you tell our viewers out there that are from Fort Loramie what your connection is to Coach Stickley?
Well, first of all, Coach Stickley's a Champaign County boy, so we live in the same county, and he lives near St. Paris. We don't live that close to each other, but we live in the same county. And he was a coach when I started coaching, and I consider him a mentor and a good friend. He was always there to help me with advice, and I just watched a lot of what he did with his program, and that's how you learn to coach, and you watching other coaches. So he's just been a good friend, and right now he's working for Finish Timing, so we get to see him at meets as well, and he's just always supportive, and I consider him a good friend.
Yeah, I see him around too, and he still remembers me. I ran for him 1 year, and there would be a good reason for him to forget me because I was terrible. Don't ask me what my times were, but I ran 1 year of cross for him my senior year. But he still remembers me. He sees me. He says
Good
hi
guy.
and everything. So he is a great guy. So, well, that's going to about do it for our track talk tonight, Coach. I do want to go back to that sound room though and see how TK's holding up back there. TK, how's it going back there?
I'm doing all right. I got a little help right here.
Oh, you do?
Trying to keep things in order without Heavy D. I don't think I've hit the wrong buttons yet, and I was able to get Coach back on the line when we had some trouble before. So we're doing all right.
Is that guy actually helping you out back there, or is he just looking up probably Cincinnati Red stats,
Yeah,
I
he's
imagine?
mostly checking red stats and working on his scorebook back here. So we're doing all right, though.
All right, well, you're doing a good job back there tonight without Heavy D, but I'm sure you'll look forward to getting him back again next week. All right, Coach, well, one thing's left, and that's that trivia question you asked me at the beginning of the night. I need you to repeat it to me again, give me my choices, and I don't think I got any help tonight, so I'm on my own.
Okay. Ken, I'm trying to make you proud here. Who was Coldwater's first individual state champion in track and field? Was it A, Carla Klosterman, B, Sarah Kenny, or C, Becky Mueller?
You gave me those three choices, and like I said, I know two of those girls. I know Carla Klosterman, who was just a phenomenal runner for Coldwater. I think she still holds some records over there.
She does.
Of course, I know Sarah Kenny. I know she was a state champ. I wouldn't think you'd make it that obvious for me with Sarah, even though she was kind of featured on tonight. So I'm going to go with the girl that I don't know, Becky Mueller.
Ding, ding, ding. You got it.
I got it. All right.
Becky Mueller was the state champ in both the 100 and 300 meter hurdles in 1995.
1995. Okay, I couldn't have guessed that. I wasn't sure what years you were talking there, but
I was afraid that would give it away. And you guys know everyone over here,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I was trying to be tricky.
well, I didn't know that Becky Mueller, but now I do, and I hopefully Ken's proud of me tonight.
I'm sure he is.
All right, well, that's going to do it for our show tonight. Coach, hopefully had a good time tonight.
I had a great time. Thanks.
Well, special thanks for you coming all the way over here from Champaign County and from West Liberty, and hopefully a few of your girls are watching tonight.
They need to go to bed if they're watching. Now it's bedtime, girls.
All right, and special thanks as well to Coach Kohler over there at Coldwater for joining us tonight. Thanks to Coach Rassman for letting me do that interview tonight. Ken and I and the crew, hopefully we'll all be back again next week, next Wednesday, same time, same place. Until then, everyone have a great rest of the week, and good night.
Night.
From Studio F in Roushey, Ohio, for Ken Francis, Craig Fissinger, and TK, this is Heavy D, signing off saying good night and good fishing.